I'm going to talk today about AI. So I'm not going to talk explicitly about FeedVisor. I probably will give you a couple use cases, what we do and how it relates to the AI. But this talk would be a little bit more kind of scientific. It will a little bit give you the insights of what's going behind the scenes, how the AI operates, what it really means. When you think today, right, about the AI and after the revolution of ChatGPT and everything else, it's really there's an underlying AI that basically lives within the models and that powers obviously the ChatGPT engine and generative AI. But the AI is much broader than that. So and we're going to touch this during the presentation to really see and understand. But then there is a layer of tools that basically lives on top of the ChatGPT. And the ChatGPT basically powers the whole AI thing by the modeling, by being able to generate these artifacts, be it text messages, be it emails, be it content, be it any other sort of automation that it generates. And then these tools basically just connect the APIs. So there is a variety of tools out there that leverage the generative AI or other types of AI, but at the very end, all these tools, all they do is just connect the API. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go into the basics of what really AI is today. What's the AI landscape? I'll try to give you sort of a simple way to look into the software and say if it's true AI or it's more like a quasi-AI. It pretends to be AI, which is nothing bad about it, but where the line is. And then I'm going to dig into a few use cases, and we'll see if it's true AI and why, and how you really judge that. And we'll finish by Q&A and a recap. So let's start at the very basics. So when I started FeedVisor 10 years ago, my vision, my idea was how can the advancement in the AI be brought into the Amazon selling? Because at the end, the selling is a concrete logical process, right? So you get the good, you put the good on Amazon, someone buys it. So where the AI comes into it, right? It's not so trivial. AI usually comes in our ability to use the computer system that are capable to perform complex tasks that historically only human can do. And these tasks usually are reasoning, making decisions, and solving problems, right? So when you think about this for a second, AI, it doesn't mean that everything that calculator is not an AI, right? But when you, as a person, when you think about a problem, when you think you need to make a decision, this decision making is what differentiates between a human on one side and the computer on the other side. If you create a prescriptive rule, so if event A happens, do something. If I get a sale, lower the price. If I get the sale, increase my advertising. That's not an AI. Because you are the one who made the decision. You created the logic. On the other hand, if you give the computer your objective and say, okay, I want to increase my sales, and I want to watch my margin, and I want this to happen given the reality of the marketplace, and the computer makes certain actions, that's where the AI comes into play. So again, the definition is AI replaces the human activity in this case. So let's go one step deeper. What it really means. As you all know, the whole thing started by movement from what we know as an analogical world where everything was written on the paper. Everything was verbal. Things were not necessarily recorded. And these data couldn't be processed, couldn't be analyzed. So the first step of innovation came with the fact that data became digitalized. So everything started to go through a computer all this data started to come in, and as the data started to come in, it started to get recorded. This is where the concept of the big data came in. So there's a lot of data. It's called big data for a reason. So all this data started to be stored. But then, and this has happened around 90s, 2000s, more or less, and the data started to get stored and everything great, but what to do with the data? I have like tons and tons and tons of data. What to do with the data? Then the machine learning advancements started to come in. So machine learning basically takes a lot of data, scans the data through a machine, and then it tries to figure out how to make sense of the data. If we see, for example, that event A usually coincides with the event B, and we see a clear causality, it's clear causality, sorry, and then we have the event A always precedes the event B, we as a human, we always understand that if that means I need to make the event A to happen, then the event B will follow. And then there can be more than one event, can be event C, event D. So once that starts to happen, then we understand there is certain flow of causality between them. That's where we come to the reasoning. So that's what the machine learning does. So machine learning helps us to understand how the whole thing works from the point A to the point C. If I changing, for example, my price, how it's going to impact my revenue, given the competition, given the market, given the responses of others, given the advertising, given the traffic. There's so many things that come in. How at the end I can achieve the goal. That's what usually we do as humans. So we look at the data, we look at the Excels, we're trying to figure it out. The machine learning, combined with big data, tries to achieve the very same thing. So this is where kind of the birth of the AI came in. How the machine can basically replicate or replace part of what we do. So that's number one. The second huge innovation that actually happened relatively in the last decade, I would say, that's the concept of reinforcement learning. And this is something that was introduced about 10 years ago in academia, and it started to be implemented, and today this is what lies pretty much behind a lot of what ChatGPT does, but not only. So the reinforcement learning means that when something happens, you encounter a result. And when you encounter the result, how you respond to the result? That makes machine to be much closer to a human. So we as humans, we think, okay, this is the act we take. This is what happens as a response. As a result of that response, I need to change my course of action. And then again, I need to evaluate the result and then continue this process until I reach the outcome. That's what's called the reinforcement learning. So basically, the system can take action, learn, take action again, learn, take action again. This leads to the concept that's called autonomous systems. Autonomous systems is something that can act on its own. It's not like a crazy robot like running in the movies, but autonomous system means it can act on its own. It doesn't require you to give clear instructions. It doesn't require you to prescribe the behavior, but the system can itself, through the reinforcement learning, understand the impact and make the decisions. And finally, the last thing, which really happened in the last years, is the explainability. How to interpret the model. Everything is black box. It's something that runs on the data, makes these inferences, makes the decisions, and eventually reach certain actions. So a lot of people would say, okay, so how did you reach that conclusion, not this conclusion? That's where the model interpretability come into the play. And there was a lot of the technology advancement in that field as well. So you combine all of that, and now you have the AI revolution. It's something that can take the data, understand the data, it can act, reinforce its action through learning, and it's also explainable. It also can show you why it achieved actions in one way or the other. So all these concepts, when you think about this, how it really transforms into the Amazon selling world, right? What we're dealing day to day. So it transforms a number of fields. First of all, it transforms in the customer service. And the customer service basically using ChatGPT, and it actually existed a few years before, but ChatGPT really improved it, is an ability to understand natural languages and respond. So when you today, again, it's not only in Amazon, almost everywhere, when you today interact with a customer representative, in 80% it will not be human. In 80%. And again, it uses the very same concept. It knows to learn and reinforce itself. It knows to respond. It knows to process the information in real time. So all of this is incorporated there. This is where the AI comes in. Inventory management, or even more, inventory forecasting is another example. So you're running a certain set of inventory. You forecast how much inventory is left given your current inventory velocity. But then you take certain actions. You advertise, you change prices, there is seasonality. There is a lot of factors that come in. The system learns. And the system learns, and then again, it's capable to forecast more accurately given the change in the world. And continuously, and you proceed this continuously. So that enables, again, to revolutionize the inventory forecasting, inventory management with the help of the AI. Listing optimization is probably the most trivial application of all. It basically runs the ChatGPT and help to take certain information and create your listing. So this is probably the most known, the most trivial application of the AI. Dynamic pricing is what we pioneered, is how to price, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in the use cases, how to price correctly given constantly changing world, be if you are facing competition, if you don't face competition. And the other area that we, FitVisor, operate is in advertising optimization. And again, when you do advertising optimization and campaign management, where the AI comes in, it comes in finding the right keywords, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. It comes in being able to set the right bid, given the competitive environment. We'll talk about this a bit more. And obviously in managing budget allocations. So, and there's obviously more tools, and I cannot really even touch on everything possible, but there's certain aspects we're going to touch today. So, as I promised, there is very easy way to tell the difference between true AI and quasi-AI. Now, when we say quasi-AI, rule-based, it's nothing bad with the software that is not AI. Nothing bad. It doesn't mean that if you have an Excel has nothing of the AI. It has like maybe little bit, but still we're using it in every day. So saying something is not AI doesn't mean it's a death sentence. It's like, okay, I should stop using that software ever because it's not AI. So that's not what I mean. But still, it's important to understand what is AI and what is not. So how you figure it out? So there's only 4 questions that you can ask in order to understand if the software is a true AI. So the first one is, does it rely on data and algorithms, and does it make autonomous decisions? If I need to prescribe, I need to define rule, if this, then do that. If I need to set certain conditions, I need to set certain limitations, it's not really AI. It's not really autonomous. It's not really making decisions. It follows the guidance that I defined. So I'm the human, I'm driving the logic, and the software automates. It's nothing bad about this, but this is not an AI. AI is where the system acts autonomously. It can process the information, it can learn, and it can act. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, do you see clearly there isn't reinforced learning? Or, in a simple way, does it learn from its own mistakes? We as a human, we learn from our mistakes. That's the blessing we got. But one way or the other, the software doesn't always do that. If you prescribe the sequence, if, for example, I'll give an example from the advertising. If I see that my campaigns, let's say advertising sales increase and my ACOS increase, I want to drive the bids down. And I put this logic into the tool, there's nothing here AI. I prescribe the logic, I'm the one driving it, Nothing bad about this. That's a rule. And the rule has its own presence in life and its own place in life, but there's nothing here as the AI. So someone will tell you this AI, it's a lie. So that's what I mean by reinforced learning. If I say that if I raise the price and someone acts and I need to program the system, in that case, lower the price, increase the price, keep it the same, that's not an AI. It's a logic, it's rule. So that's number two. An ability to do the self-learning. The third one, and probably the most trickiest of all, and this is where it's really helps you to understand that this AI really stands out versus others that claim to be AI, is it can adapt behavior to the various objectives. This is much harder to do than through all sort of rule-based software, because think about this. If I give you an example of an objective, and I go deeper in this in the use cases. But let's say my objective is, let's say, increase sales and keep the margin. Or the other objective can be, my objective can be increase the margin and keep the sales, the level of sales the same. So this is two different objectives. The AI needs to adapt through learning. But if you're using the system that you basically code, that basically you decide there are certain rules, there are certain requirements, or there is certain like one-way black box that created of rules but being sold as an AI, then this system cannot adapt to the various objectives. Because adapting to objectives requires reliance on the reinforced learning, because my objective is different. I need to learn in a different way. And it also requires autonomous actions that, again, rely on learning and take objective into the account. At the end, it needs to replace human. It doesn't mean, and I spoke with somebody today, and we spoke about, is AI good or bad for society? So AI is not bad for society, and the fact that it replaces jobs, it means that someone needs to learn new things so we can move forward and be more productive. That's the whole meaning of the AI. But AI must replace some of the work you're doing manually. Because if you don't replace it, you wasted your time. If you introduced AI and you have exactly the same headcount with exactly the same people doing exactly the same tasks, you just wasted money, plainly. You wasted money. There's absolutely no impact that AI done on your business. AI must replace some of your activity. You may say you had 5 employees, and now you introduce the AI, and you keep the 5 employees, but they're doing different things, and your sales skyrocket. That's great. But if you have the same 5 employees doing exactly the same thing, and you introduce the AI, you simply wasted money on the tool. With that said, let's look into the use cases. So when I selected the use cases, I basically selected it from our own experience. So every use case is a problem we tried to solve, and the way we solved it, and then I will try to come from your perspective. So I'll put myself in your seat and say, is it a true AI, and why is it this way? And maybe it's not. So let's look into a few examples. So the first example is this. I'm a seller. I have various products. I manage a portfolio of products. They have different demand patterns. And we'll talk more about what demand pattern is. By the way, okay, we'll talk more about this later. And then they have different price elasticity. What it basically means is in some products, people are sensitive to price. In some other products, people are not sensitive to price. Sometimes there is a competition in place, so they're sensitive to price up to a certain point, and then they're not sensitive, and the opposite. So there's like million of different scenarios that can happen. But then I, as a seller, I have one simple question. What's my optimal price? So let's see how we solve it, and let's ask FeedVisor if it's true AI or not. So first of all, we're solving this through the dynamic pricing. And we use AI to drive these dynamic pricing decisions. Let's look into this. So first question, as I said, is it autonomous? Yes. You don't need to go and say, you need to change price by this, see the result, put some another rule and say, okay, then I need to do this, then I need to do that. So it's autonomous, it acts on its own. Excellent. Is it learning? the number one question always you ask, is it learning? If it doesn't learn, it doesn't worth much. Is it learning? So we learn in two ways. We build the demand models. What it means, the demand models? Demand models, it means what kind of demand you have given the price point. So if my price is $10, there is, let's say, 100 orders. If my price is $20, I get 20 orders. So clearly there is decline. Can be another story. Can be at $20, guess what? You get exactly the same amount of orders. People just don't care. So that's what's called the demand model. So we build this demand model for every given product. Now, if you have one price point, if you don't change the price, you cannot build a demand model. It will be guessing at best. So you need to move the price. How you move the price? That's where the AI come into place. It moves the price, it sees the impact. It moves the price down, it sees the impact. And this is where it learns. So it reinforces itself. It says, okay, I lowered the price, I saw that much of the impact. I raised the price, I saw that much of the impact. Let's run it over a period of time, see what's the actual output is. And then we need to take into account the environment, which is very much not static. Everything is changing, right? So there is competition. Competitors may change their price. Maybe I'm running advertising. Maybe competitors run advertising. Maybe there's a change in seasonality. Maybe my discoverability has changed. So there's like millions of things that can change. They influence the model. Because obviously, if I'm running the advertising, the sales skyrocket, it's not because I changed the price. It's because I put a lot of advertising into it. So you need to take this into account. But then you build this dynamic model. The model learns, it knows to respond to these various conditions, and it knows to respond because the machine learning basically runs and understands the sensitivity. Understand if my price stayed static, but my orders jumped, that's the reason, what it correlated to. So all this comes under the reinforced learning. Then, as I said, being able to adapt to objective. Being able to adapt to objective is the most important thing. So we adapt to 3 objectives. Increase margin, maintain sales. Increase sales, maintain margin. Or maximize sales regardless of margin. Very same data, very same algorithm will act differently depending on the objective you have. So we can help you to achieve what you want to achieve, and you don't need a person. And that's the last thing. We eliminate the need for a person to manage pricing. So that person can do something else. But you, as the owner or as a VP of a group, you can just set the requirements, what you want to achieve. You can set your objectives, you can set your ranges, and then the model executes. So let's visualize this. So this is the 3 examples I talked about. So first example is when you think demand, think about this quantity of units sold. So you see that clearly as the price increases, units sold go down, the most common scenario, I would say. And then if your objective here is to increase sales on the expense of margin, then move the price to the left, to the lower. And then if you want to maximize margin, move the price to the right. Sounds simple, right? It's not so much simple as you move to the different case. In a different case, and this, I would say, the most common bias to almost every seller on Amazon is what happens if your demand is not very sensitive to the price. This can happen if there is a lot of demand for a product, or there is not substantial competition out there, or there is a certain seasonality in place, or simply you price yourself too low. In your mind, you think it's the right price, but you price yourself too low. So in this case, what will happen is you increase the price, and you're getting exactly the same amount of sales. Again, the AI here knows to experiment. It knows to raise the price and see, oh, there was no change. Let's raise a little bit more. There's no change. Let's raise again. And then, oh, now the demand drops. So let's come back and let's find that point where your margin is maximized. So that's example of the second situation. Third situation is a mix of both. I would say exceptionally common. you see very inelastic demand. So your price, you can change the price, you can raise the price, demand stays the same, and then at a certain point it drops, but drops very, very quickly. So you need to find that optimal point where your margin is maximized, but the demand didn't drop. So that's an example of using AI for pricing, where you have your own private label or branded product. You don't face direct competition on it. But at the end, you want to leverage the AI to learn, to understand the market, and make the right decisions. And you don't need to get human in the middle for it. And that's where AI. So let's take another case. That case is, it's not a private label or branded product, it's actually a competitive product. And there is a lot of sellers selling this competitive product. And then I need to be able to win the buy box, but I also don't want to give up all the margin. I don't want to get to the price wars. So that's an example of what FeedVisor offers, the buy box repricing. So the buy box repricing, let's ask the same question. Is it AI? So number one, it does real-time price changes completely autonomously. You don't tell how exactly should I change the price, if the competitor is higher, the competitor is lower. I can rely on FeedVisor, and FeedVisor will make the right choice. That's the first attribute of the AI. The second one is there an reinforced learning? Is the system learning? Or basically we prescribe. So we don't prescribe, the system learns. What it learns? It learns how competitors react to the price changes, which is very important. So if, for example, you raise the price, how the competitors will act. And if you lower the price, how the competitors will act. The next thing, never less important, is the speed. So if I see, for example, I am the algorithm, I see that everyone responds slower, I can raise the price, I can win a lot of buy box in between while they're still responding. By the time they responded, again, I can respond very fast, lower the price, regain the buy box, and then raise it again. So being able to learn the speed of response, the pattern of response, enables the algorithm to basically trick the competition. So we saw cases where people were using sort of a rule-based system, or they were using some sort of primitive algorithms, or even repriced manually, and they just couldn't believe the results, because this is where the autonomous pricing comes in. And it's just by understanding speed, by understanding the patterns, it can just outsmart the competition. So that's where the learning comes in. And again, it follows the very same business objectives, right? So you can increase margin, maintain sales, you can increase sales, maintain margin, or you can maximize your sales regardless of margin. And then you follow all of this, and the algorithm will behave entirely differently in each of these scenarios. Same algorithm, same market, just different behavior. And finally, it eliminates the need for a person to manually reprice or to manage multiple pricing rules, because the system does it for them. So now I'm going to show something we never showed in any conference. So watch, it will be very interesting to you. This is the visualization. We talked about the interpretability of the AI. This is the visualization of the actual competitive environment for a buy box product, for an average buy box product taking in the market. So what you see here is a number of competitors. You see the timeline. You see the price moves. Some of you will be surprised there are so many price moves, because when you look at this, you don't necessarily see that. We receive price move through notifications. Amazon sends notifications. We capture each notification. We put it in, and then you see the competitors. So the red line is FeedVisor, customer. The other lines are other customers. So as you can see, I don't know if I can, yeah, I cannot do laser. But as you can see, we initially, at the very beginning, we set certain price. It was $33. We won the buy box, everything great. We're trying to see what happens if we raise the price further. This is the actual actions that happened during these days. So we raised the price, we lost the buy box. So why we raised the price? We raised the price because we're trying to invite others to reciprocate. Maybe we can share the buy box at much higher price, and then you will get more margin. So they don't. They didn't reciprocate. In many cases they do, but in this case they don't. So you see the green line, the competitor below keeps price the same. The others keep price the same. We lost the buy box. We learned. We're coming back. We test again. We say maybe these guys are just slow. Maybe they just don't know to respond that fast. Let's raise the gain, wait a bit. So now we've been substantial amount of time above. They don't respond. We have to win the buy box. We're going all the way down. We're going to $30. We win the buy box. We start to raise, see how they respond in intervals until we get again to a certain point. We lose the buy box. But we lost the buy box because a new competitor came in. It's hard to see, but there's a new competitor came in, and that competitor took the buy box at a very low price. There's no choice. We're going all the way down. We fight this competitor, but guess what? This competitor sold out in exceptionally short period of time, maybe like an hour. We pushing price all the way up, and there are sales happening with higher margin in the middle. And then we kind of get another competitor. We compete with them in the middle. This is around July 20th. And guess what? Then there is, I don't read the color, but I think it's black, that comes down. They don't care. This is their price. And then we have to go all the way down, but then he sold out. We start to raise up again and win the buy box. So when you look at the average like $33. If we'll keep the $33, the results will be substantially lower. But we get the average, when you look at the performance, you get the average amount of sales for the $33. As if you kept it the same, but you cannot keep it the same, because if you keep it the same, you're going to get 50% of the buy box at the best, assuming everyone at the same price, and then you would lose it to all the actors below. If we don't raise the price, we'll deteriorate the margin. So that's a very, very complex game, very complex arena, and this is how the true AI behaves. You see, nothing here is prescribed, not in increases, not in decreases, not to do what, not to do when. It learns. Nothing like a person. It can make mistakes, but at the end, it outperforms the person, and it outperforms rules, obviously, as well. So let's move to the next case, and this is the case of advertising. Now, this case is hard to visualize, so I'm just going to talk it through. But at the end, in advertising, you just want to achieve your best performance. So what autonomous actions do you take? So your autonomous actions are keyword harvesting, being able to find the right keywords. Your autonomous action is dynamic bidding, to understand the bidding environment and bid properly, and budget balancing and budget allocation. So all of the three are then again captured by the platform. Where do we learn? We learn from first of all, we use generative AI to understand which keywords are relevant. And we give recommendations, or we can supply keywords that are relevant. So this is where the learning happens. And we understand which keywords drive which search volume. So we're trying to find the most appropriate keywords. Then we also look at the daily, weekly seasonality, and we're trying to understand what kind of bid is needed and how various bid prices influence the performance. And the last thing is we look at the budget utilization cross-day and over time to again set the proper way of budget allocation. With all of that, we have two different objectives. You can focus on efficiency and say, I want to achieve certain ROAS or ECOS, or we want to focus on what we call the visibility, achieve the higher brand awareness, help you with the new product launches. And again, same algorithm behaves differently given the objective. And finally, as a result, we replace human. We don't eliminate the person needed for the advertising, but that person doesn't need to take these mundane tasks that they will do if they have to do it manually. So the last use case is probably the most interesting, and then I'll do a Q&A session. But the last case is the most interesting. So you have pricing optimization. We spoke about this. You have a pricing optimization for buy box, you have a pricing optimization for private label branded product when the competition is not on the product itself, and then you advertise at the same time. How are you making sure it works right together? So actually no one except FeedVisor does it today in the world. So we're the only ones who are capable to combine these actions because we understand our AI kind of talks one with another. So the AI of pricing and the AI of advertising, they know to talk to each other, and this is why this is possible. So let's look into this. The first one is we do dynamic price changes. So we know to understand the price elasticities, we know to understand how pricing influences demand, but we also know to take into account the advertising spend. On the other hand, we know to take the advertising optimization actions. We know to set the bids, we know how to set the right targets. So when these two happen hand in hand, how we really coordinate between them. So first of all, it happens through the reinforced learning. What's learning here? It learns the elasticity of demand that we spoke on the pricing side, but that elasticity of demand helps us to align better with the advertising spend. So it can choose different objectives, and I'll in a second give an example of this so it doesn't stay abstract. It adapts to the various business objectives. So you can say, okay, I want to do my sales objective, I want to increase sales, or I want to go more for the efficiency. And I want higher conversion rates. I want better echoes. And at the end, it helps you to save, again, humans' time of coordinating the two. So an example. An example would be you're running a campaign. You run an advertising campaign, you pour money into a campaign. I think the presenter before me said like $10,000 into a campaign, a lot of money. So you put the money into campaign, and now what do you do with the product price? You raise the price, you lower the price. Any ideas? Okay, so here what you do. It depends on the context. If you're running a campaign and you detect the price elasticity, that is, the price is pretty much elastic, it would make sense for you to actually lower the price, achieve much higher volume, improve the conversion rates, and achieve much better echoes. Because if you have more sales, your echo substantially improves, because the very same spend now is against much more sales. So many more sales. So that's the first scenario, the elasticity. The second scenario is there is very little elasticity. Lowering the price is not going to help, but then you can raise the price. If you raise the price, you actually can go and offset some of your advertising expense, because you spent, I don't know, $10,000, probably less. You spent on the advertising of that product. But then if you can sell the very same amount, the conversion rate is not going to suffer. If you're going to sell at slightly higher price, what's going to happen is basically you're going to offset some of the cost that you put toward the advertising through your increased margin. So that definitely helps to offset costs and achieve better results. If at a certain point that leads to elasticity actually to increase, and it leads to the fact that your price is now going to drop the demand, now you should stop and kind of get back to the point where demand is optimal, because otherwise your echoes are going to be through the roof. Because you increased your price, your orders went down, your sales went down, and now you have less sales against advertising, your echoes is through the roof. So that's an example of where you really need to watch the two together, and this is where the combining everything. So FeedVisor offers a product called FeedVisor 360, where we do the 360 optimization, and that's exactly where we take all of this into account, and we help you to visualize this through the analytical means. So you can see exactly what I've done in advertising for each product, what I've done in the pricing for each product, how it influenced the performance, what actions did I take, and how I'm going back and adjusting my objectives accordingly. So that's on a very, very nutshell what we do. And to sum it up, basically, we spoke about the true AI. So the true AI, there's 4 questions. Nothing bad with not true AI. Nothing bad with the quasi-AI. You can still use it. It's not an AI, but it's okay. The 4 questions: is it autonomous? Is it does it self-learning? Does it close the loop and does the reinforced learning? Is it adapting to objectives? It's very important. And is it replacing the human? How my organization is going to change as a result of the AI. If it doesn't, that's a problem. And then we do it for the only reason to improve the performance. We don't do it to be very, I would say, very passionate. Like, we do AI, it's great. But if you do AI and your performance stays the same, something is bad here. And the first thing you should see a boost in revenue. The second thing you should see is, if you're using advertising optimization together with pricing, is you should see that it strengthens your brand awareness and it helps you to achieve better visibility. And it combined with a good performance, and it also delivers you very strong ROAS and ACOS. So that's basically pretty much what FeedVisor is all about, and pretty much how AI can be used. It's not the only way to be used. There's multiple ways of using AI, but this is one way of using AI to really achieve outstanding performance. So with that said, and before the Q&A, we have here one of our clients. And he was very nice. I didn't ask for that, but he was very nice, and he said he will stand up and say a few words about FeedVisor. So Joey, you want to say a few words? You want to come here?
I wasn't really prepared. Does this work? I wasn't really prepared. I thought you were going to prompt me with some questions, but we've been using FeedVisor in my company, Lucky 21, since I think 2017, initially for the repricing, and later as they developed the advertising tools, have been very close in touch with their team and understanding a lot of the programming behind it. I could not give a higher endorsement for the software. Everything that Victor spoke about here is 100% backed up by his software. It's miles ahead of any other tool we used. I know we're focused here on Amazon, but my company also operates on Walmart. When we initially started on Walmart, they had locked us into 2 of their API partners only. It was very, very rough going. I won't mention who they were, but as soon as they opened it up to other API partners and FeedVisor was on it, they did what they do best. They ran with it. I think that was about early January, and here we are now in end of July, and we're fully functional with all our campaigns on Walmart. And the proof is in the numbers when it comes to the Amazon campaigns. Many times we've tried outsourcing to agencies for particular tests. Everybody seems to have a methodology that makes sense on paper, but nobody could beat the campaigns that FeedVisor is optimizing. So that's my little pitch for him. Thank you. He didn't pay me for it either.